Hi folks, I'm going to do a little video today on this little box, which is the Boss SE-50. Now these were made in the very early 90s, I think this one's a 1991, and it works absolutely flawlessly. But you can pick them up for €50, 50 quid, and I think if you're in the market, especially for a delay unit or a delay reverb, it's got a few other things as well. It's still, it's 30 odd year old, but it's actually very, very good. So I'm going to run it through the effects loop of this Bugera because it's a 3-channel amp, so I can give you some clean, some crunch, some high gain sounds. Because it's reverb and delay, I'm going to stick quite a lot to some clean tones. I'm going to use a early 2000s Ibanez Gem Junior 555, the Korean made one, with DiMarzio Evolution pickups, and let you hear what this is like, because if you can get one, they're pretty good. I've gave this a complete factory reset, and the only thing I needed to do was put a new little button battery in the memory. And that's all it's had. It still works absolutely flawlessly. So I like it for its reverbs and delays. It's got flangers, it's got phasers, it's got a fantastic detuner, because you can do detune with a little bit of a delay, and you can offset, and you can do multi-part harmonies. I think it's 4-part harmonies you can play with it. So really anything that what's it, the TC Electronic Mimic, that doubler pedal, this could do it 30 years ago. It can do all the delays you can think of. There's ping pongs, there's analog, there's long delays, very quick delays, stereo delays, and like I say, everything can be done and run in stereo. The phasers stereo, the flanger stereo. I'm just going to run it simply into the effects loop. You can run it into the front of the amp, and if you were going to use the distortions that are in it, which I think are based on likes of the Boss OD1 and DS1, there's 2 really good distortion pedals, and this thing can be worked with a foot switch for on and off, and a non-latching foot switch to scroll up and down. So it comes with about 120 algorithms. Some are delay and reverb, phaser and reverb, phaser and delay, all of these different amalgamations, and you can edit any one of them and save them where you want. It's not ideal. You can't really jump from effect number 1 to effect number 10. What you would tend to do is you would store them all close together, and if you were playing live you could then bank up and down to whatever you suited. Today I don't have the foot switches. I should have one somewhere, cannot find it, but for this I'll just be using the ons and offs and scrolling through a few of the sounds. I'm not going to go through all of them because that gets a bit endless, so I'll flick through some of my favourites and let you hear what this little 32-year-old box can do. Bear with me, I'll just pause this and I'll move the camera so you get a close-up of what the settings are. Okay, I'm back, and hopefully you'll be able to see we're in setting 1, which is a hall reverb, and the effect is off. So this is my clean sound. So very, very dry. So effect on. I'm not going to touch any of the parameters. I'm just going to flick it on and flick through a few of the sounds for you. So on we go. Nice rich reverb. So we'll scroll up to Hall 2. amount of tail in that one. Room reverb, so something with a bit more of a slap. There you go, just a live kind of room. So just a nice little slap back kind of reverb on there. Plate reverb. Ambience. That's a very subtle one. So if I play an E chord and off, it adds a little bit of something. Gate reverb. Stereo reverb. Now, if you're running this through two amplifiers or into a desk, this gets quite big. The multi-delay, now this can be controlled. If you go into parameters, you can adjust it any which way you like. This is as it came, which for me is almost unusable, but onto a tap delay again. Switch that one off, it goes on a bit. Nice simple stereo delay. Now I'll do this with a bit of gain on it, so this, if you want a kind of nice 80s lead sound, this works quite nicely. Onto the bridge pickup, the DiMarzio Evolution. Again, you can control any amount of parameters. Now this is interesting because there's a bit of hype about for the Space Chorus these days. Bosch re-released the Space Chorus, and this is a great version. The pitch shifter. Flick to another one, stereo pitch shifter. So this has got a bit of a slight detune on it. It's very, very subtle. You can do this in cents of a note as well, so it's not just going down a third or a fifth or an octave. You can actually go down basically 1% of a note if you wish. which it's almost a chorus effect. Now this, with some gain on it, however, takes you straight into that Van Halen balance tone. If I switch that off, let you hear it dry. So that adds an awful lot of width. Stereo flanger. Again, this is quite full on, and being in the effects loop, you can tone this down a lot. I'll give you a clean sound first. And now into some gain. Stereo phaser. Again, way overkill of an effect for my use. Okay, now I'll switch this off there and we'll scroll through a few more. We're now into the rotary speaker. Go to a clean sound for you. And then I think we're heading into, there's, as you see, keyboard effects. Quite a few of them. Guitar multi-effect is one where you can actually run, mainly into the front of an amplifier, you can run a distortion, a chorus, reverb, delay, noise gate, there's everything all there. Vocal multi. Stereo enhance is again quite a subtle effect. Not so subtle if you're playing in stereo, which would help. Two-channel mixer, again. Is very much a chorus sound, and again when you add some distortion you get that kind of Van Halen-y tone. Through a few more. This is when we get different reverbs. Reverb 1, reverb 2. Quite a lot of reverb on there. Gate reverb. Go through chorus and reverb. Delay reverb, again, we're just running through numerous things that are all much of a much. gets a really nice delay, really nice reverb, and so much control over them. We're now into some different hall reverbs again, so we'll just flick to a clean channel and let you hear these. That's got quite a nice shimmer to it. Now remember, this is just a completely dry amplifier I'm using, no other effects going into it. Again, reverbs for days. We're in drum reverbs, ambience. I'll scroll through some of these. Again, ping pong delays. This is quite a long delay, but I found this one is I'll let it finish. This is absolutely fantastic for that kind of Brian May type Brighton rock, big long lead sound. So we'll go to a lead channel. Quite like that one. Okay, analog delay. And we'll go to a clean channel again. Give you an effect on. And that darkens off just as a normal analog delay would. And chances are it's very similar to the Boss analog delay from back in that day. Short delay. Very short delay. That could be quite a nice thickener. So we'll try that with a rhythm sound. High gain, bridge pickup. Totally dry. Add the effect. That doesn't work so well for that. Ignore me. Cross delays. Long delays does exactly as it says. And we're heading back into more of these space choruses again. The detune is very much that early 90s Van Halen sound if you wanted to go down that road. detune this using the parameters. You can go into this and edit to your heart's content. There's different modes. There's the pitch, fine tune, that's 10 cents down, pre-delay if I wanted to add a bit of pre-delay, and I can pan it left and right, add feedback, and there's the levels. So just exit, nice and simple. Octave up, octave down, octave up, does just what you think. Diminished is very strange. Really not sure where you'd use that. So there's octave echoes, more stereo pitch shift. There's a little bit of latency, but it's really not that bad considering its age. And stereo flangers, again, we just go round and round. There's different flavours of the same thing. So yeah, it's basically if you want a load of Boss pedals and in stereo, look for these. There's the SE-50, which is the original version, and there's the SE-50, which has got a few more goodies, and it's got a little bit less noise. It's a little bit quieter, but really I'm running this into an amp with no noise gates or anything else, and it's perfectly usable. So yeah, I'll just pause this and bring it back to so you can see my face if you want. So I'm back, and that's Hamish, by the way. Little rundown of, probably went on far too long with all these different sounds, but these things you can get for about €50, £50, $50. People just don't use them. You may find a use for it. Personally, I would have that kept in the effects loop as it is. I would have the foot switch. Usually I would use one or two different delay sounds, and I would just have that with the couple of foot switches. One is a normal single jack socket foot switch to switch an effect on and off, just as I was doing with that button. And you can get the likes of a 2-button non-latching, and that lets you pan up and down. And if you had 4 or 5 sounds all together, it's very easy just to do that. So I would treat it basically like having a delay pedal, but in the effects loop. Just run a long cable to the foot switch and you're good to go. Cat's gone, and I'll go too. So thank you very much. I hope this little trip down to the early 90s has been worthwhile to somebody. Keep an eye out for them. They are about. Thanks a lot. Bye bye.